Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. I'm just getting up some stuff here. I'm just gonna go live here in just a second. I guess I am already live, but I'm about to go over some stuff here in just a second. I just want to make sure that you all know that this is for educational and for social media purposes. This is for fun times, but I'm just kind of going over some of these charts. Here we go. Let's jump right into this. Um, Turn down this music. So right now we are doing some consolidation within the S&P 500. You can see here that we're having lower high or higher highs, but also kind of lower highs. But at the same time, it's kind of consolidating within this high and this low that we're going sideways in. We pretty much have been here. We've been here for a while now. Um, it's pretty much. And there we go. That should have worked. Pardon me. Okay, so you guys can see here that we pretty much have been here since last year of August. We've been kind of trading in this range now for a year. And the same thing is for the YM. Looks pretty much the same way. 1 second. Dow Jones Industrial Average. You can see here, here's the same high, here's the same low. We've been trading in between that same area for a while now, so you can see what's actually going on. You can see potentially where we might come down to for the Dow Jones, and then we can look at the NASDAQ here for a second. Pretty much the same thing from here to here, this low. We're just kind of trading in between this area here. And this is a big range, but it's kind of like what we're playing off of right now. You can see here we also have a major, and I'll point this out, this is a major zone here. You can sit there and see that. I believe this is a gap because this color I typically use as gaps. Yeah, this is a gap area. So you can see here that this was a gap from here to here. Looks like it was on higher time frames. Let me put that in. Anyways, the late and great Bob Dunn taught me a lot about gaps. Look at them. You can see here gaps and stuff like that. Go ahead. Now just jump right into this. As you can see here, we're still playing in this range here, kind of going up and down. And the Russell, shockingly, same thing right here to here. It's the same range we're playing in. And we can check out this real quick. Let's go ahead and go right into Bitcoin now with this. Boom, boom. You can see here that we actually have kind of a sell-off for the week. Again, kind of we're at this up here at these levels. Once we cross below here at this weekly zone, we saw a sell-off down to this level here and then a rebounding. Similar take is going to happen. If we fall below this area here, you'll see a sell-off, typically a sell-off at these levels on that weekly zone. Right here, not weekly zone, but weekly lows. We go down below here with volume, we should see a sell-off at that levels. If not, and it comes in and takes buyers, then we'll see it probably get above here by the end of the week. Today is Tuesday, so we'll see what's up. For Bitcoin, we could see potentially Bitcoin at a 30,000 mark here, potentially. So something to be paying attention to. In addition to that, you can also see that we do have that resistance level up here that we've talked about, that 31,000 area. For Bitcoin, that's actually what's going on that week. On the daily, you can see here that we are now crossed, excuse me, we did cross below the 8, and then we came back and tested it. Now we're starting to continue down. So again, I see us coming down to this area here of that 26, 25 area, where we actually have the 200 period moving average on the weekly there. So it's something, it is hanging here, as you can see right here. And additionally to that, this could become a demand zone at these levels. Personally, I think that we're probably going to come down and test this 24,000 area. If not, probably further than that, which we could see a sell-off to the 20,000 if we're testing that. So something to be looking at, paying attention to. Also, when you're looking at that, when we do sell off and tap this, the 200, we should see a retracement back into that 8 period moving average. Then a bounce off of it to continue down to these lower are these higher time frame moving averages, which is the 50 sitting at the 22,000. And then we also have the 100, 200 on the, or excuse me, we have the 89 and 100 moving average on the daily. So be mindful of what's actually going on there. Ethereum pretty much looks the same thing. The only thing is we are a little bit higher on the scale here. It's pretty much the same thing. We are hitting the 400 period moving average. We're also hitting higher time frame moving averages, supply zones, and we did bounce off that 50 period moving average this past month. So you see we came down here, hit it, and then came back up. So we did put in a lower high here, okay, as we came down, and then potentially this could lead into a higher high, which would be that 2084 mark area. I think personally that this market is in a sideways area between this area of the 19, and you can see here this 10,082. So we've played here for the last few months in between these levels, right here we came down to. It's gonna most likely retest this again, simply because there is more, nobody likes paying for something at an expensive level, so, or at a high level. And I feel like right now with the current structure, what's happening in the world, we'll probably see another global sell-off of all assets, right? And we potentially could see Ethereum down at this 1,000. I've talked about the 500 mark area. I'm still waiting for that. I could be wrong, but I do think we'll come down and tap that 500 mark and then see a turnaround in the market from that moment. But we shall see. Here you guys can check out. Hey, and if you guys are watching me, please like, subscribe, or go through and just hit a thumbs up on the video, just so that the algorithms will see it. And if you have any questions, concerns, things you want me to look at, I have no problem looking at. All right. So when it comes down to these levels here, we're living in a very precarious time, and so with the dollar and the yuan fighting with each other, the petro dollar, or excuse me, the petro yuan versus the petro dollar, it's been very interesting to sit there and see. We don't necessarily know who or what's going to win out. I personally think that the U.S. will win out just because we basically have more friends. People want to do business with us, let's say over China. People who are in a need, right, who want to develop, are doing business with China, right? Like a lot of third world countries in Africa and South America. But it still doesn't mean that they can't become very, very strong in the near future. So we'll see what happens as that moves forward. But something to pay attention to, right? And not to get blindsided by it. The other part here with Ethereum is that we are, and I know there's a lot of lines here, so let's go we put in a bunch of seller wicks here where we bounce off this 40 period average. And we are starting to tap into that 20 period average as we're coming in. So we're going to see how this interacts with that weekly chart as the 8 gets closer to the base here of the lower part. Are we going to continue up, or we're going to see a sell-off and come back down, like I said, to at least test these lower levels here of that 1400 mark. Let's go check out BNB. BNB had some situation that did happen, whereas they went through and they actually, and there's nothing wrong here. It's just that they went through and well, it all depends on what you're going to see, right? If it's the CFTC, which is basically the people who govern and handle all of the futures commodity exchange, okay? They go through, sorry about that. They go through and they're basically kind of going after Binance, right? Like, we know that. And so it's been pretty cool. We shall see. Looks like to me, here we go. Let's check out what True Do is saying. So, it looks like to me, we need new leadership, more progressive. Traditional anything is based on slavery mentality. I'm done with all that. All right, there you go, buddy. It all just depends on what we see, right? And the market as we move forward. But right now, as we're talking, we're starting to see some movement within our friendly movement of BNB. Now, with BNB, it's one of those things, again, like that. The federal agency is actually going literally after Binance, which is affecting their price movement as we see. It could potentially be a great buying opportunity if they're able to reconcile with the, FTC or FT, if I can say it correctly, right? It's like this in my brain was just like not working this morning. The FTC, no, that's not it. CFTC. Wow, whatever it is, it's just the commissions and futures commission people in America. Wow, I sound like a complete idiot. Sorry, people. My brain's just not wanting to work. I'm looking at the charts, so it's in this state here right now. It's like, alrighty then. Now, I've actually changed charts here a bit. Let me go back here. Where did I have it? Oh, here it was. The BNB has been better to the American people than anything we've had so far. I agree, man. Like when it comes to the actual ability to be able to make some profit of that nature. I agree with you, true. That's true. Well said. Anyways, yeah, but I agree with you in that aspect very much. Now, one of the things that we do see in the charts, we are coming into some levels in relationship to moving averages here. We have higher time frame moving average that we are playing off of, and the 8 sitting right here is where we saw a nice little bounce off. In addition to that, on the weekly chart, we did bounce off the the 200 placement mark right here. So I don't know what happened. It should be here, and it's okay. Well, we'll just play right here right now. So sorry about that. But we're seeing some variation of moving averages sitting right here, which is that 20 period moving average and the 50 period moving average that we did see a buy. We did see a push off of. We could be coming down to that level of basically the 293 area. Profit and innovation. I agree with that. And they've been on point. I do agree with that. You can see here that we do have a consolidation of moving averages within a weekly movie or in a weekly demand zone. So we very much could see it come down, test again, and then put in a new higher high, or excuse me, a higher high from here, not necessarily from here. So, but as you can see, we're putting a high or a lower high, but then we put a higher low, and then now a higher high here based off of this rally. So I'm assuming we come back down into these lower levels to see it go back up. So potentially, if we do see BNB move. Now with XRP, XRP has been one of those ones that is just, like we see, it wants to rally. I think it really wants to rally, but we're playing off of this 200 period moving average on that weekly. And that's a very strong position here, or this, it's a strong moving average. You can see they tried to get around it prior, and then they did do a sell-off. We did do so, but we kept a higher low here, which I was shocked. I thought we were going to go lower here, but we didn't. Now we've actually come back up, and we're now striving for that moving average, or for the new higher high here, which is up at these levels here. So it's going to be really interesting to see if it does close above the 200 period moving average. If we do, most likely we will see a rally up, then a rally down, and then to come back up into these levels. Now, granted, these are the weekly moving averages, so it's not like that's a small feat to get through. So our monthly moving average is also sitting here, which is that 50 period moving average. That's why we're fighting here quite a bit. Primed for profit, and innovation. Are you talking about BNB business, or are we talking about the chart? True. We'll call you Duke. Are you talking about the business side, or are you talking about the XRP's chart? Just let me know what you're talking about. Or are we still talking about BNB? Here for when it comes to XRP you can see as well as similar, but I do feel like there is a little bit more volume stepping in here. Let's go for the month. I do feel like of late we've seen a bit more volume. You see down here where we put in right below the lows, you saw a rally up, and then now we're starting to see a push up. So I do think that these people who are putting their profit, they're not profit, excuse me, I was just reading your statement again. This here potentially could see it come back and rally. You can see that we are tapping that 8 period moving average that is coming back, tapping it, and then moving up. Again, like I said, we're coming up to the end of the month, so we can close above these moving averages. We should see a push up, then a drop down to secure that we are going to stay above it, right? So be mindful of that. Don't think that we're just going to just shoot up and go to the moon, right? It's going to sit there. We'll see a higher low and then a higher high from here. But we need to be mindful of this, just the way the market hits. It'll go up, right, and then come back down and then rally back up. So it's typically the way it moves. If it makes a new higher high and closes and stays above on the monthly, it's what's really most important, right? So I do see that coming within XRP. XRP is looking like it's basically being primed for that, just because we are seeing a bunch of volume step in as well. So let's go ahead and go to Litecoin here real quick. Litecoin is looking pretty nice, and the fact is that we are seeing a sell-off here, and we did put in a lower high here, or excuse me, a higher low here. So this could potentially come down because we are seeing a conglomeration of a lot of the moving averages at these points here. And in addition to that, we also are playing off of weekly moving average that are sitting right over that 15 period, as well as that 8 period coming into it. So it potentially could signal that we do want to move to a higher level while we are doing a sell-off. So again, Litecoin, there's a lot of stuff going on with Litecoin as well. We know that The Lightning Network is one of the primary networks that people use to exchange Bitcoin on. So something to be paying attention to again. Um, yeah, Litecoin here, really nice. From its low of $40, now we're sitting to the high here of what's that, 103. So what is that, a 2x since the beginning of the year? Or not the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year would have been 60, 100. So that is almost 50, 60, maybe 60%. Wow. So there you go, 60% from the high of Litecoin. Now, if we look at DOT here, DOT, see here, has been one of these ones that have been pretty beaten up. A lot of DOT was used for the Ukraine war. People did send DOT because of their ability to make it very simple to use. To cash out, the inoperability factor of them is a big deal. This is why Ukraine did decide to use it to send money to. So I think that's kind of actually suppressed maybe the price, because people have been, they've been selling it, and so we'll see what happens. But ultimately, I think it's still a strong case to be able to move. Now, I know there are a few more new protocols out there that are actually being created, as well as it's kind of come to market already. So it's really interesting to see what happens with DOT. Let's go ahead and go into ADA. ADA is putting in some pretty decent markings. See here that it did stop and put in a higher low at that 29-cent mark. It did get up to the 40, not 40, it did get up to the 38, 40-cent mark-ish area here. So that's something to be paying attention to. If we do continue, you'll see that we are sitting at that weekly 8. If we can see, you can see here that we pierced it. If you do see it close above that 8-period weekly moving average, then it's going to test that monthly 8, which is right above it here. So it'll close, and we should see it within this week. If it decides it's going to do it within this week, get above that, and we want to see it close for it to continue. If we don't, we see it close around the lows here, then most likely we're going to see a sell-off even more so. So it's really interesting. This is it's not a sink or swing, but it is just a tough area as a price levels here with ADA. Let's check out Dogecoin here. Dogecoin, my bad. My dog don't care for my technical analysis. It's like they all told me to shut up in unison. Don't even, Duke, man, share your opinion, man. I'll never. And here's the thing, like tech TA is like art, man. There is a science to it, right? But then once you're at a level of, where you're good and you're calling it strong, and you're kicking it, at least 50%, 60% the time, then, share your opinion. And even if you aren't, please share your opinion. Everybody's open. This is an open platform. I guess it's not an open platform. I've been thinking about going on to Jack Dorsey's new stuff. I have a friend of mine who's actually streaming off it as well. You can actually tip in Litecoin, by the way. So, for my 2 observers there, I'd love for you guys, if you guys could come on. Not come on, but if you guys tip me, that'd be dope. But hey, but I have to actually go through and actually set it up and kind of get it going. But we shall see, right? And additionally to that, though, as we are moving here in Dogecoin, because you can see I'm trying to get back here, Dogecoin is looking very nice. I do like Dogecoin here because we did put that lower high here in, and that lower high here, or the higher low here that we placed, it actually placed it in a good area here at these demand zones. You can see that we tapped it, and then now we came up from it. It's interesting to see, since the market at large has been moving and we saw Shiba Inu get delisted from um, Binance. It's really interesting to see though that like we didn't see a sell off in Dogecoin because it's a meme/meme coin, right? Like, or started off as that way. So it's real interesting to see. Back on a backwards note though, from that we are putting in a lower high from this level, excuse me, a lower low from this level. And so, and we are seeing a lot of the moving average, which is above price. We could see this thing come back down to the low of 55 and potentially the 49 area again if we do have a sell off within the market. This is showing weakness in comparison to, let's say, XRP and or BNB, which is still a strong coin as we've seen with no matter what kind of comes their way. Tron has been really interesting, right? With Justin Sun kind of coming underneath some heat, and additionally to that, USDD, right, coming under heat and depegging for a minute, and then coming back up. I talked about that on the show here in relationship to the depegging, and it looks like they've actually done a decent job pushing it up. Now this is a paper trade. This is not a real trade. I just want to gauge how it works, but you can sit there and see that here's the dollar. We came in a couple days ago, probably 10, 15 days ago. They were at break even. So it's just interesting to see what's actually going on here. But I personally am not bullish or bearish on Tron anymore. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens with them as a community. The community is strong and they are vibrant. So it's one of those things. We all know that crypto has more to do with a community that uses its coin versus that sometimes even the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals sometimes just get blasted out of the water. Just kind of like what we're seeing with the current currency economic situation here in the world. So interesting. Now let's go ahead and go directly into Tron again. So Tron right here, as you guys can see, is looking pretty strong. The fact is that I put in the midst of this drop a higher low here, and then we saw quite a bit buyers step in. So I was actually really impressed with this what's actually going on. When you look at the weekly chart again looks pretty similar. You got a lot of buyers stepping in off of that 20 period average, so they're definitely keeping it up. Then on a weekly, you actually have that 8 sitting right here, and it's in between the 20 period moving average. So we're doing a little ping pong in this level here. So if we do see this continue, we are most likely going to continue up. We're going to blow through the 74, 75 cent mark area here, or 72 to 75, and most likely come and tap that 80 cent mark if we do get above here. Now, on the backside, if we do get rejected from this level, we're then going to see a turnaround and come back and test most likely these lows of the 43 to 37 cent mark area, where it will most likely kind of do some consolidation. We did hit this we barely tapped this a few times. We could see then some consolidation in this area, potentially push up, then come down, and then come back and retest off of this to see if it continues further down. Again, we don't know, just because it's the market, but that's what I would guess we probably see here. When it comes to Matic is looking at pretty much the same way. You guys can see here in between the 8 and 20 moving average. Playing off of that, we did put in a big seller wick here, and it did, as I spoke about a couple weeks ago, we did do a sell off once we went below this level and came back and tested that 8 period moving average this year. And we are going to move 20. And my name is Fred. There we are. Uh, Boom. So we're going to see this play back and forth and see how it wants to do what it wants to do. All right, guys, let's jump now into Shiba. With their delisting, I expected a much higher sell-off from them, right, with Binance, but I do know that they have their own blockchain and you can stay on it and not necessarily. So there must have been a lot of people from Binance already that currently have a lot of, well, um, a lot of what's the right coin on their blockchain on what they're doing. So it's interesting to see. You know, there wasn't a lot of transactions going on in Binance where they were making money. So I'm assuming that's probably why they went through it. My bad. There we go. Now let's go ahead and check out price predictions. I do see it typically. I do feel like we're going to see a sell-off here. I do have a price prediction of the 68 to 65 area here. If they do decide to do a sell-off, this is going to be a lower high here for these levels, right? Boom, boom, again, still lower high from here, which would then cause me, because this was a lower low from here, I do gauge that our next one would be a lower low down in these levels. That's why. Now let's go into Solana. Solana is looking pretty unique in the aspect of here. I'll show you here. They are in this sideways pattern, lower highs and lower lows, but they've got a lot of stuff going on within their network, right? Like the whole entire HNT mining, there's a lot of finances that go in and out on that. They're really trying for that cell phone. So that in itself, if they do make that happen, it's going to really help out with Solana's network. So that's where I said they have a lot of unique things going on. And the chart, I would have thought, you know, if apart from that, I think that there should have been a bigger sell-off at these lows here, right? We should have seen a bigger sell-off, but we didn't. So we actually stopped and we went back up. From a monthly and weekly standpoint, we're bouncing off of that 8-period moving average on the monthly, and on the weekly, we're playing that 8, the 8, and the actual 20 again, like we saw with the other charts. So it's really interesting to see, are we going to go through and just ping pong off of this for a while before we break out, either to the upside or to the downside? I think that we're going to have that for another maybe 2 or 3 weeks with Solana, at least, right? Until we do see some major movement from a fundamental standpoint on them. All right, guys. Well, that's it. I did want to go over Arbitrum, right? Chart Arbitrum is looking pretty. They launched last week. And they have, you know, this is a brand new or they're not a brand new blockchain. They've been around for a while, but they just launched their primary coin, Arbitrum, public, right? This went public, so you can see here and see what's actually going on. They had a huge push up from basically 12 cents, and this is actually the KuCoin, and then the Arbitrum off of Binance. Actually, they actually launched at 50 cents and then went up to $1.60, whereas Arbitrum on KuCoin went all the way up to 11. So you can see, and it went down to 12 cents. So that's actually where they started with KuCoin. So all that to say is I'm looking at this and I see a level here on KuCoin, not on Binance. It's important to understand. On Binance, it's not there. And this is a couple hour one. Where's it at? Here we are. This is our area, and this right here is now more supplies. This here real quick. So you can see here that we're playing off of this area here with Arbitrum off the KuCoin chart. If you were looking at the chart of Binance, you would have seen like it's not making sense, right? You're like, why is it stopping? There makes no sense. But if you go to the KuCoin chart, you'll see, oh, because there was a small zone here. So I'm going to move this right here, and you can see it. Yes, we are coming through. We did get through in the majority of this zone here, right? So if you look at that weekly, we're now starting to bounce, or excuse me, not weekly, but that 2 hour, we are starting to ping pong off of that 20 period. So if we do not, if we hold above the 8, we see that 8 find support, we're going to come and test most likely that 8 period moving average, or excuse me, the 50 period moving average on the 2 hour. And by that time, that should be the 20 period average at those levels. So something to be paying attention to. If not, we continue down, then we'll probably see this thing tap below the 112 cent mark area-ish, or the 109 area-ish, and come down and do some price discovery, and we'll see really where they want to put in a base on Arbitrum, right? So it's something to be paying attention to. Arbitrum is a old but new blockchain that is now kind of released their coin. So I think they're pretty dope. I think they got lots of cool stuff going on with them. So we'll see what's up. But that's it in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions and concerns, you guys know you can reach me anytime through Moonrock. I hang out in the Coin Lounge with Brian. I also hang out in the Ninja Lounge with JB and Arion. So thank you guys. Have a blessed day. And I'm here if you need me. Many blessings.